Good evening and welcome to tonight's member webinar where we look at ASX investment opportunities in review for the 21st of October. The information covered this evening is general advice only. If you'd like to know more about the Investor Signals products and services, please visit our website or give me a call on 1300 614 002. Up on screen's a graph of the S&P 500. We continue to tighten the support lines, recognising that the price action is above the moving average, but we do have the red arrow in place. The momentum's still certainly positive, but it's not until we get that price action closing below that first support level, possibly even below that second level, that we'd see the price action below the moving average and start to think about the short side of the index. On the local market, the XJO, similar pattern. We got a higher low formation there and two support lines, one under today's session low and one under sort of midweek last week. But we are seeing the red arrow there as well, but continues to make sort of higher highs, higher lows. So stay on the bullish side, and we'll have a look at some buy side opportunities tonight if we see the XJO break through those support levels and below that moving average. Again, start to have a think about the short side of the market. Looking at what's gone on the advisory blog, Collins Food, not something that we've done a lot in at this stage, but certainly on the watch list. AMP, we've been bullish on this and hold this in our investor portfolios. The earnings result came in above expectations. We think that AMP probably is looking at a multi-year recovery, and we've been on the long side of that for a while now, and it's something we'll stick with over the next 2 to 3 years. The food ETF, if you don't have a position in this, I'd guide you to certainly add it to your watch list and start to have a closer think about it at around this $6.50 to $6.70 range. I think it's in a price band there that you could look to accumulate that for a medium-term trade. Integris is a US technology stock, one to have a think about if you follow the US equities, but at around $100, we're comfortable adding that into portfolios. Bank of Queensland, probably start to sort of something above $7 there tomorrow. We'll probably look to lock in profit on that. We bought that pretty well. The switch from sell conditions there into algorithm buy just above $6. Not really part of our core portfolio, so happy just to really trade out of that. This is an interesting position that we've added back in the China new economy. I spoke about that in the prior week's webinar. The correction down here to sort of $6 is getting back to a support level, and we're looking for a rally back up towards that 7 to 750 level, and we're just starting to see that get underway today, and there we are back to last week's webinar. So just to jump into my watch list for tonight, and I'll just focus on some of the ideas on the buy side here. This Challenger, we're seeing all things gold rally at the moment. This is quite a speculative gold play, but we're seeing that sort of rally from 5 cents up to 6.5, as we are with most gold explorers or producers. So this is the CNU ETF, the correction there from $8.50 down to $6. So look, we're now back on the long side of this in our trading portfolios, looking for this to move up to around $7, and we'll take profit on that. PEXA, we really hold this in our investor portfolio and in our property fund. And PEX is obviously a critical piece of technology, and I've been talking about for a while now. The expansion into the UK makes it sort of an interesting growth story. It is a little bit expensive, but we're happy to sort of stick with that to get the added exposure of the expansion out of Australia into the UK there. Megaport not doing too much there at the moment. Beach still bullish on the oil trade. So Santos, Woodside Petroleum, Beach is holding up quite well here at the moment after building that higher low there at around $1.21. So you could stay on the long side of that with a stop at 121. Gold Road Resources, that's been one of our preferred gold plays. Switch from sell conditions there into algorithm buy at 150, now pushing up to 195. The Wire ETF, we've traded out of that in our trading portfolios, but we still have some exposure in the investor portfolios. Likewise here with Tabcorp, we're sticking with this. See some value down here around this 40. So actually, let's just jump back and have a closer look at this, especially from a trader standpoint. So if this is something that you want to look at tomorrow, you could really sort of think about the long side of this with a stop below 45.5 cents there, which is the low from early last week. Reliance we hold in our property portfolio, as with Reece. Tyro not doing there at the moment. Northern Star been bullish on that. Fortescue, so iron ore at just over 100 a tonne at the moment, still looks okay. Um, Fortescue Mineral Resources are probably the two standout at the moment. Obviously, Mineral Resources had a big correction today, but keep an eye on Mineral Resources. I think maybe it could, the selling uh, could be a little bit overdone there, a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. But Fortescue, be a buyer of it down sort of anywhere near that 1850 levels. My view on that. Pro Medicus has had a tremendous rally. The small company Masters not doing too much there at the moment. The Nasdaq, ASX, we've been bullish on that. Continues sort of more of an income play rather than a growth story for portfolios. This health ETF, we're starting to see that rally as expected, so we're buyers of this on the correction down here to $11, now pushing back up towards 11.50. We'd kind of be happy to take profit on the trade, maybe back up towards that $12 level. So I'll keep an eye on that over the course of this week. Collins broke through the original support when we last looked at this. It was that type of pattern, and then Friday was a pretty negative close. Today it's stabilised. I'll probably sort of give this a little bit more room down here to maybe even $8. It is below the moving average at the moment, so maybe just want to keep an eye on it and wait for it to show some bullish momentum before adding that into your potential trade list. iTech not doing too much there at the moment. Flight Centre will let that consolidate. The Tech ETF not doing there. Cloud ETF, we're staying on the long side of that. iPay, we continue to hold that. This is the biotech ETF, so we're sitting on the long side of this after buying it again on this dip down here to around $48. So again, it might be one that up at around $52, we'll probably look to take profit on that. Whitehaven not doing too much there. Ingham's again, add this to your watch list. It's below the moving average at the moment, but just keep an eye on it over the next day or two. Just to see if it finds support at that pivot low there of 283, and then just wait for the price action to get above that moving average before you look at the long side of that. Swoop Holdings, this was a new stock that I've added to my watch list today off the back of the shift from sell conditions there into algorithm buyer. I'll have a closer read up on the fundamentals and add some detail to the blog tomorrow on that one. Coles looking for a little bit deeper sell-off down there to maybe 17.20 and get a bit more aggressive on the buy side there with that. Bunnings Warehouse, you maybe sort of take a look at that at around 350. We hold that in our property portfolio. This is the food ETF we looked at earlier off the back of the recent blog post. So the correction from $9 down here to 650. The setup looks reasonably strong. Not expecting it to come back and take out that 640 support. So if you're buying it here, you would have your stop loss at say 630 thereabouts. Brickworks reasonably positive on that. We hold that in the property fund. Pepper Money, I've been talking about that one for a little while now. So the higher low, you wouldn't want to see that come back through that $1.33 level there as a stop loss. The oil ETF needs to hold above $5.10 there. Transurban needs to hold above $12.98 as your stop loss there. And Mineral Resources, let's just have a look at what's happening here. So, concerns around the impact from the CEO being embroiled in what may turn out to be some level of tax evasion is pushing, creating sell side pressure, but ultimately I think it ends up being a buying opportunity. I don't think it's a company changing matter and early days yet. We'll see what develops, but I think you want to add this to your watch list, have a look at it, possibly just let it consolidate, and then again just sort of that added margin of safety, which would be waiting for it to get back above the moving average as a reversal of momentum to then jump on board that. And I'll keep you updated on the blog as we monitor that and set up trades in that ourselves. And there we are through to sell signals. So let's finish tonight with a quick look at the trade table. So the ASX 200 trade table continues to push up into new highs after being up sort of 40%. Now we've seen it add around 13-14% over the last month or so, and most of that gains coming off obviously the back of these open positions. So I'll just toggle through these and we'll just have a quick look at them, recognizing that the standout performers probably Bank of America, Life 360, Insignia, and maybe to a slightly lesser extent REA. So let's just go through them and have a look at the patterns here. So algorithm buy signal, green arrow, price action above the moving average. We've taken this on in our trading portfolio, and now it's under red arrow. We'll probably look to close that out at around that $7, $7.10, hopefully tomorrow. Commonwealth Bank, been on the long side of that through the automated trade table. It hasn't been a sort of manual selection, but where we track the trade table automatically. We're on the long side of that, so the green arrow, price action above the average, and it's simply just going to stick with it as long as that momentum keeps riding higher. Computer share, algorithm buy signal, green arrow above the moving average, so it's an open trade. CSL, we've traded out of this in some of our shorter term trading portfolios, but the pattern there is obviously familiar. The buy signal, the green arrow, price action above the moving average. From an automated system following perspective, the trade's still open and it'll stay open until it rolls over under red arrow and crosses below that moving average. REA group, so maybe in the early stages here of the setup where we've got the red arrow, the original signal was probably back here actually. It's been in the table for a while, and now we're just sort of looking at a point where it's probably roll over and be closed out. This is one of the better performing stocks. I think it was up about 30%. So again, algorithm buy signal, green arrow above the moving average, but getting a little mature here. We're seeing the red arrow come in. That'll probably roll over and see that shut out fairly soon. Life 360 and then Bank of Queensland. So let's just jump back in and have a look at the performance of those. So REA's been in there the longest, 73 days, which is a bit abnormal. Sort of mostly 40 to 45 days would be a long holding period. So both of these are starting to sort of mature into that trend where the red arrows appearing, and these will likely be closed out. But pretty exciting, the performance of the trade table. The technology continues to do well, and having that added peace of mind of the stop losses in place there, if we were to have a period of market weakness. On the other side, just having a quick look at the US trade table, the S&P 100, it's been a little bit quieter, so it's just reflecting sort of more of the US stocks being in sort of the latter stage of their uptrend. We haven't had a lot of algorithm buy signals to create the trade table setups, but even the positions that have been open have done quite well. So from being up around 17% to being up 22%, so about 5% gain, but certainly underperforming the ASX 200. Thank you